Hey guys, what's up? It's Nicole. Oh, it's okay. It's like baby lips, like kind of pinky red toned chapstick. So I was thinking, I was sitting here. Nate and Neil are at the grocery store, and I was like, you know what I want to do, because my girl Roberta texted me today, and she told me that she's going to a meeting tonight, but she also told me that she's starting her step work with her sponsor. And I thought, dang it, I'm inspired. So, I finished working the steps with my sponsor, and now I'm working the steps with a young lady and taking her through the steps. So I thought I could come on here and just share with you guys a little bit of what I learned, and we could talk about some recovery. So also wanted to share some stuff with you guys that's super exciting. My clinic, the Suboxone clinic that I go to, I asked, when I went last week for my appointment, I talked to the head nurse and the doctor there, and I asked them if we could start a medically assisted recovery anonymous meeting there, because I've had several of the girls and guys like reach out to me and say that they need support and that they were having problems finding support in other fellowships. So I was on Facebook and I heard about this MARA. It's called MARA, a meeting that they do in Philadelphia. And it's the same outline as the 12-step AA meetings. It's just, medically assisted recovery anonymous. It's just the same thing. And you work the same 12 steps. It's the same how it works. So I thought, wow, can we start that? So we're going to start it once a week. Peggy's going to have me kind of like be the chairperson for right now. But then like when more people start coming, then we'll be able to like get them involved and a different person can chair each week. Dude, I'm so excited about it, you guys. Like, I haven't been this excited about something in a long time. So what I wanted to do was, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the 12 and 12, but it's a pretty awesome book, and what it does is it breaks down the 12 steps for you. And so since I have been talking to you guys about how it's really important to broaden your recovery and not just stop using drugs, that you need to be actively working on your recovery and on changing your behaviors, I thought, well, I'm going to stick to what I know. I'm going to share with you guys what I learned and what I'm still actively working on today. And that way, I'm not just sitting here telling you about it, like I'm actually teaching you too. Okay? So, I hope y'all are okay with that. This is my AA book. It's got all my little tabs in it where I find the good answers, and that's where this is where I get my information, you guys, is from this book. This book was written back in the 1930s, and it's a pretty awesome situation. So, I thought what I would do was start out by reading how it works, and then I really want you guys to comment if you have any questions, but we'll read how it works, and then we will go into the first step, okay? And I will talk to you guys about my experience working the first step and what the first step did for me and if I thought it was hard, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Here is the solution. So, how's everybody's day going? I am feeling a lot better, you guys, than I was feeling the other day. I was hurt, last night, but I'm over it. I'm forgiven, and I'm not mad at that person. It is what it is, you know what I mean? I know that I'm working really hard over here trying to change the person that I was on drugs, because you guys, drugs made me a different person. I wasn't like I am now, and I've been working really hard on that. So, okay. Oh wow, this is awesome. My relapse is gone. Okay. So how's everybody doing? Is anybody on here? Can't even see. Let me see. Live chat. All messages are visible. Okay, good. So nobody's saying anything. Okay. So I don't even know where I'm looking. Let's go into step 1. So, why can't I find this? Oh, that's Weak Gnostics. More about alcoholism. This is the best book, you guys. Chapter 3. I was trying to, that's where when I was talking to you guys about that there's levels to addiction, you know, I got that information here from this book because, and what I mean by that is that there's different levels to, you know, if you're a hard drinker, a binge drinker, just okay, where am I at? Okay, here he is. What? Here we go. How it works. Notice that the little figure. Selfishes. How it works. Okay, y'all ready? Okay, we're going to read how it works. I'll then talk a little bit about it, and then we'll move on to this first step. So here we go. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover, people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we are like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. At some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us had tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol and drugs. I add that in there. Cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the 12 steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. Hey guys! Hey Jordan! Hey Kim! I'm reading the 12 steps, Jordan. I hope you can stay, and then we're going to go into step 1. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7. Humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him. praying only for the knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all of our affairs. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order! I can't go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The rules we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic, and our personal adventures before and after makes clear 3 pertinent ideas. Hey, Brian. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could relieve our alcoholism or addiction. And C, that God could and would if he were sought. Okay, so this is how it works, okay, guys? This is what they read in the beginning of any AA or NA meeting, or really any A meeting I think that you'll go to that's addiction related. So at the beginning of this How It Works chapter, it says, "Rarely have we seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path." I remember when I first started trying to go to meetings and I first started getting a sponsor, and I would say, "Oh, AA doesn't work for me. NA doesn't work. I can't go to those meetings. It's just too much. What, they want me to hang out there all the time? That's lame." You guys, I would fail and I would relapse and I would fail and I would relapse. You know why? Because I wasn't willing to take the suggestions. I wasn't willing to go to meetings when I was asked to. I wasn't willing to try over and over and over again different meetings until I found the right one that fit me just perfect. And because of that unwillingness, I continued to pick up and relapse. Because it tells me right here in this book that if I thoroughly follow the suggestions that are made to me, that they have rarely seen somebody not get sober. And there's many people before me, hundreds, thousands, that have gotten sober in AA and NA because they were willing and they were honest and they were open-minded and they took the suggestions that were given to them. Whenever I talk to you guys and I'm like, "Yeah, I really want you to try some meetings," or "I really want you to look into some more kind of treatment for yourself," it's not because I'm like trying to be the boss or make people feel like I know it all. It's because I was the same way too, and I kept on like not doing it. I kept on falling back and not following through, and I kept on relapsing, and I kept on staying stagnant at a place in my recovery where I just wasn't moving forward. Okay, you guys, if you get sober and you're sober and you've stopped doing drugs and you're in recovery now, don't you want to continue growing and changing and evolving and learning new things and learning how to deal with life on life's terms? Or do you just want to stop doing drugs and just maintain? Like, I want to constantly be like learning new ways and new coping skills, and that's what I'm doing, and that's why AA helps me so much, because I learn things and I hear other people's stories and their experience, and it inspires me. It inspires me to keep doing what I'm doing and to try harder and to really, really focus on the program and helping others and doing the service work and giving back what was so freely given me. Because the fellowship of AA saved my life. And if it wasn't for that, the people in there and that reached out their hands to me and gave me help when nobody would, I don't know where I would be today, And then it also talks about how there are people that are constitutionally incapable of being honest, that they just cannot get honest and they are just not willing to change. And a lot of those people have mental illness and they don't get sober. And it's because they cannot let go of their pride and ego and get honest and say they need help. And I used to be there. I used to not ask for help. I used to think I should have to stop doing alcohol and, live my life. But it's just not like that, you guys. It's a brain disorder, and it's going to take years and years and years practicing recovery to get over it, you know? So I love how it works. I love reading it. It gets me excited. It gets me excited about it shows me right there that the program works and that there's an outline, and it shows me, it tells me there. So here's step one. We admitted we are works that had become unmanageable. Okay? So at the very beginning, it says, we admitted we were, past tense, were powerless. So I'm no longer powerless over drugs and alcohol. As long as I don't put those substances in my body, I got it now. I can say no. I can make better choices today. But before, I was powerless. I was powerless. Drugs took me down through there, and I could not stop because I had lack of power, because the obsession was so great that our lives had become unmanageable, and my life was so unmanageable. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a car. I had nowhere to live. I was shooting up every day. If that ain't unmanageable, I don't know what is. Losing my son. That was the peak of my unmanageability. When I gave birth to my son, I thought, I'm a mom now. This is going to change my life forever. And then I lost the one thing that meant something to me, that gave me purpose. And I was like, oh no, this is it. I've got to make a change. So this book is going to break it down for us. Who cares to admit complete defeat? Practically no one, of course. Every natural instinct cries out against the idea of personal powerlessness. It is truly awful to admit that. Glass in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking and using that only an act of providence can remove it from us. No other kind of bankruptcy is like this. Alcohol, now become the rapacious creditor, bleeds us of all self-sufficiency and all will to resist its demands. Once this stark fact is accepted, our bankruptcy as going human concerns it's complete. So, just like I was talking about, the ego and the pride, step one is the smashing of your ego and your pride. It's admitting complete defeat. It is waving the white flag in the air and saying, I surrender, I surrender. Hey, Cher. I love you, girl. I'm so glad you're here. When you take step one fully, when you fully take it, because I've taken step one several times and I didn't take it all the way, and what happened was I went back out and picked up again. Because when you take it fully, you're going in, you're surrendering, and you're accepting the fact that you can no longer, ever use drugs or alcohol successfully ever again. Because if you do, you'll lose everything, when you admit that powerlessness, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulders. Like when you say, I'm an addict and I can't get sober, I need help, help me please. It's like you're crying out and you're waving the white flags and you're saying, I surrender, I surrender. My surrender time, you guys, when I surrendered and I was like, I cannot do this, help me, somebody please help me. It was 30 days after I got out of treatment, and I was scared for my life. I was so afraid that I was going to get high and that I was going to die and my son wasn't going to have a mom anymore. I was like, please, you guys, help me. Help me. Someone help me. And just like it says here in the book, it says, it is truly awful to admit that, glass in hand, we have warped our minds into such an obsession for destructive drinking. Like, the obsession to drink and to shoot dope for me was so strong. That's all I thought about. 24/7, 7 days a week. All I thought about was how was I going to get my next hit? How was I going to get my next pill? How was I going to get my next shot? Alcohol, now become the rapacious creditor, bleeds us of all self-sufficiency and all will to resist its demands. Alcohol and drugs take everything from us. Our will to live, our will to love, our will to do things, all things become centered around the drinking and the using, because we can't have fun unless we get high. We can't have fun unless we get drunk. Can y'all relate to that? Where your life literally centered around, well, I got a graduation to go to tonight, so I got to get a couple pills so that way I'll feel good and we'll have a good time and I can loosen up. Or you got a wedding planned, your friend's wedding, she's getting married, and you got to get drunk before you go to the wedding because, you know, you got to be sociable. These are the kind of things that I would do in my life. As an alcoholic addict, I would drink and use at these times that I felt like I couldn't socialize regularly, like regularly people could, you know? So let's move on and I'll read some more. But upon entering AA, we soon take quite another view of this absolute humiliation. We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. You hear that? We perceive that only through utter defeat are we able to take our first steps towards liberation and strength. That's what when they say that I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Oh, she's got the gift of desperation. When you have done everything, when you have exhausted all avenues, and all you can do is say, help me, I can't do this anymore. That's when you're saying, I have been defeated. I have been knocked down. I am desperate. I will do anything. You know, just like we were desperate to get our drugs, always used to plan what I was doing around getting on. Yes, exactly. And the defeat that we experience when we're at the end of our rope, and that's the best place that you can be, is at that crossroads where you're like, I can't take this anymore. It's the end and I'm done using. Because when you're at that crossroads and it's like, okay, I'm either going to get sober or I'm going to die. That's when, like, you're ready to do something and make a change.
I got you some shorts.
Thank you. And whenever that change comes, and when you go, where'd you get these from? When you go into treatment and you get that change, or you start, I remember when I was in rehab, I just don't have the discipline. And she said, you had the discipline to get your drugs, so you have the discipline to get clean. That's what she said to me. And that's right. That's why it's like that when you go in and like working really hard to get high and get your drugs, we have to put the same effort and discipline into our recovery that we did into our drug seeking and our drug using. And that's why when I talk to you guys and I'm like, I really want you to do more for your recovery. I really want you to, you know, try to get connected with some people and try to attend some. You guys, they have awesome like big book studies at AA meetings where they read the books like this and they teach you about the steps. And they even do it online for those of you that can't get out or have a really big schedule with work. They have online meetings. You know, Roberta is walking proof of that she dipped her toe in with the meetings, the online meetings, and now she went in person. And you know what? She's changing her life, y'all. She's already doing things for her recovery, and her whole demeanor has changed, and that willingness to do whatever it takes has came into her life. And it's like watching a miracle happen right in front of your eyes, because whenever it's just like all you got to do is be willing to do it, you know. And it's so sad when I talk to people and they say, well, I fuck meetings, I just don't want to go to meetings, I'm not into that. You're not into it because you haven't given it a chance. If you really tried with all your might and all your effort, 100%, gave it a chance, I promise you that you, oh no, talk to her, I talked to her in text. I promise you that you'll find a place where you fit and you'll see changes if you sponsor and start working steps. It's just the little things at the beginning, like doing step 1, making gratitude lists, waking up in the morning, praying, doing your meditation. It changes your perception right away because you're already doing positive things for your life. Okay, so here we go. Our admissions of personal powerlessness finally turn out to be firm bedrock upon which happy and purposeful lives may be built. So our admission, us admitting that we are defeated, that we cannot do this anymore, that we're ready to surrender, that rock bottom right there becomes our foundation, that we build ourselves back up. You know what I mean? And that's what, when people talk about, oh, they've hit their rock bottom, and then they say rock bottom was the, foundation that I changed my life and built my life back up with. This is where that comes from, out of this book, and that's what they're talking about. Like, sometimes we got to get knocked all the way down to the bottom of the ground, and the rug pulled out from underneath us, knocked our heads around a couple times, thrown in prison, all kinds of stuff. I know for me, you guys, it literally took me 10, 12 years to get my head pulled out of my ass, so that way I could see, hey, look, I can do this. I can do what it's asked of me, and I can change my life, and other people want me to be, other people will help me do that. Like, I don't have to do it alone. Like, this is what other people do for me. What I'm reading to you guys and, like, kind of teaching y'all is what somebody else did for me. They took the time to take me through the steps and teach me and read to me and have me read with them and do big book studies. And that's how I learned, is from somebody else. So my duty to the program and to myself to stay sober is to pass it along to somebody else. And that's how each person that's in the program stays clean and sober, is through their higher power, seeking that higher power, giving back and helping others, and keeping their house in order, taking my inventory and making sure that when I'm making bad decisions or I'm making bad choices, for instance, thank you, Cher, thank you too, girl. Like, for instance, I was looking back on my video from last night and how upset I was. And I know that the way I was acting and crying and being upset was because I was hurt and I was full of fear. And when I'm hurt and full of fear and afraid of what other people are going to think about me and saying that I'm not clean because I'm on Suboxone, that's a character defect of mine. And that's something that I really got to work hard on changing, because I don't have to answer to anybody except for God, my higher power, because God has got me and he's helping me through this, just like he's helping you through it, and that character defect, what I do every night is I go through my mind and I think, what are the things I did today that I might have done that I need to do differently next time? Did I hurt anybody? Did I call somebody a name? Did I, act rude to somebody? Did I cuss somebody out? Is there anything I need to do to make amends to somebody? Or, go ahead and change it, say sorry then, and turn it around. So that way it doesn't build up into a resentment, And so this morning, I went on to Shane's page and I sent him a message on his video, and I sent him a long message about, how I support his recovery, and I would really want to challenge him to do more for his recovery. And that was my way of, like, extending that olive branch and saying, hey, your opinion is your opinion, and I support your recovery, and I want you to do better for you, and this is way I do better for me, you guys. And I think a lot of other people can be doing more for their recovery. I mean, each person, every day we can do more. Like, we're never, like, done learning, and we're never done growing. And so if there's room for me to learn, there's room for me to grow, and especially if you just got sober, you guys, and you're at home and you're kind of like just trying to stay at home because if you go out, you're going to get high, or you're going to be around people that use, and you don't want to do that. This is the time to invest in you and do something for your recovery, because learning about your disease and learning about these steps This is going to be, it's basically like ammo for your gun that you're going to shoot at the relapses. So that way you don't have something like that happen. You'll be armed with the facts about your addiction. And when your addiction comes up, because believe me, if you have the disease of addiction and you're a real addict, your addiction will creep up and start telling you, hey, my addiction tells me I don't need to go to meetings. My addiction tells me, oh, don't make a video. Just lay in bed and relax. Those are the kind of things my addiction tells me, because my addiction wants me to isolate. My addiction doesn't want me to talk to you guys. My addiction wants me to stay in my own world, so that way I can be over here secret. And that's secrets are what keeps us sick. Secrets are what cause us to relapse. You know, being isolated and not going around other people and not fellowshipping in recovery, those are things that feed into our addiction. And you might not know it, but it's subconsciously doing it. Your addiction is strong because it's in your brain. It's a mental disorder. So I'm telling you, my addiction will tell me the damnedest things. And now, because I've educated myself, like a lot of the times I know, I'm like, oh, hell no, that's my addiction. Just like my addiction told me the other day, I need to get put on Adipex so I could lose this weight. Y'all, if I got put on Adipex, I'd be tweaking my balls off. And then I'd be running around high all day long. So that's my addiction. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know better. I know I can't take that kind of medication because I'll shoot meth. But my addiction wants me to, because my addiction wants me dead. Okay. We know that little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA unless he has first accepted his devastating weakness and all of its consequences. Until he so humbles himself, his sobriety, if any, will be precarious. Of real happiness he will find none at all. Proved beyond doubt by an immense experience, this is one of the facts of AA life. Okay, so let's read that again. We know that little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA unless he has first accepted his devastating weaknesses. Okay, so I can join AA all day long. I can go to meetings. I can work the steps. I can have a sponsor. But if I have not fully accepted the fact that I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, and I have fully accepted that I cannot pick up and drink and use, then it's pointless for me to even do all those AA stuff, because I'm going to go out and use. Because I have that lurking reservation in my mind that's saying, oh, just go out and get one more. You know, I have to always remind myself that that reservation has to be smashed. No drinking, no using, because if I drink and use, I will die. So let's read that one more time. We know that little good can come to any alcoholic or addict who joins AA or NA unless he has first accepted his devastating weakness and all its consequences. So there's a saying, they say, acceptance is the key to all my problems today. Okay, my problem is not the fact that I like to get fucked up. My problem is the inside. My problem is my insecurity. My problem is my need to feel differently, that want to change the way I feel. And drugs were just my solution. Drugs were my medicine to my problem. The problems that I had inside, that feelings that I didn't want to feel, drugs were just the medicine that I took to make me feel differently until the medicine stopped working. And then I was sitting there in this room getting high and still felt shitty. It's like I was getting high and I wasn't even feeling good. What is doing? What isn't that what? Okay, I don't know what that says, girl. Say it again. So, devastating weakness. Okay. Yeah? Okay, I'm busy. So, isn't that what substitution is doing? Okay, we know that little good can come to any alcoholic who joins AA unless he has first accepted his devastating weaknesses and all of its consequences. Until he so humbles himself in his sobriety, if any, will be precarious, or real happiness he will find none at all. Okay, I don't understand your question. Suboxone, what is it doing? I know that it says here that if I don't accept the fact that I cannot drink and use, if I don't accept that, you guys, then I'm going to go out and drink and use again. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I did that over and over and over and over again so many times because I still had this thought in the back of my mind that, well, I could still use Xanax, or I could still shoot dope and nobody would know. You know what I mean? It was that reservation. And today, like, I don't know what your question is about Suboxone, but I know for me, like, I don't have any reservations about drinking and using, and it absolutely doesn't make me want to stop. You know, it doesn't, it's not doing it, like, that's why I'm working so hard in my AA program and on my 12 steps, because through these steps, you guys, I've had like a spiritual awakening, a spiritual experience where the desire to use and drink has been removed from me. Like, I have not wanted to drink or get high in so long, I cannot even tell you. And I used to get high and get drunk every single day of my life. And even when I got put on Suboxone, the first 6 months to 9 months of being sober on Suboxone, I thought about meth all the time. And I wanted to get high all the time still. But then I started working these steps and going to meetings and talking to other people that had addictions and having a sponsor that was taking me through the 12 steps. And that's when I started, like, learning about how my addiction is just a symptom of my problem. My problems were the depression, the anxiety, the insecurity, the feeling less than, the feeling inadequate. Those are the things that I used because of, you know what I'm saying? And for me, for me, Suboxone is not, it's just like when I get up in the morning and I take my Lexapro, it's just like a mental medicine for me now, you know, and that's why I'm working with my doctor to taper, because now I'm in this place in my recovery now where I don't want to get high anymore, you know, and I don't want to use anymore. So that shows me that I don't need that medication anymore. Like it helped me in the beginning because I still thought about drugs every day. You see what I'm saying? And I still was really struggling with staying sober. But I changed all my people, places, and things, and I started really working hard on my recovery and really working hard on my depression and my anxiety and working hard on loving myself and loving me for just who I am, and talking to my counselor and going to my counselor and really talking to her about how I feel, how Nicole feels about Nicole on the inside, and then working with my sponsor and talking to her about my amends and talking to her about the things I had done in my addiction, the things that caused me shame and guilt. Through doing that, that's when it's like I saw it right in front of me. All those things that I've done hurt so many people. And it's like, it even says it in the book, you guys. It says that we'll get to a point in our sobriety where we will recoil from drugs like it's a hot flame. We'll go, I don't want that no more. I don't want that. And that's how I feel about meth. That's how I feel about cocaine. That's how I feel about Roxy's. That's how I feel about Xanax. I feel like I don't want that shit no more. You know, because it ruined my life. You know, and it almost took me out. And I don't ever want to do that ever again, because I don't want to get taken out. I don't want to lose my family. I don't want to lose my son. I don't want to lose myself. Like, I'm actually proud of myself for once. I actually have a job and I'm doing a good job at it. I actually have my family back and my dad is proud of me. My dad's never been proud of me. I can't remember the last time my dad was proud of me. And I've worked so hard on this to change the way I was and to change my old behaviors and to be a better person. If you're on subs or none, you're not clean. You know, and that's why I call myself clean on Suboxone, because I just haven't been on Suboxone. I'm not over here just sitting here taking Suboxone expecting for my life to change. I've totally changed my life, my behaviors. I have went to therapy, and that's why when I argue with people, because I do believe that there are some people that are taking their medication that are not actively working on their recovery. And but that's not either here for or there for me to say, but I know you guys know me, Nicole. I'm working hard on my recovery. I'm working hard on changing the person that I once was and being a better person. You know what I mean? Because back in the day, I just did what I wanted to do, you know? But through working these steps, you guys, these steps, when you work the 12 steps, that whole point of the steps is to relieve the obsession to drink or to use. And that's the miracle about these 12 steps and working with a sponsor and having that fellowship. Hey, Andrea, it's the obsession to use becomes lifted. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, the obsession, like that thinking all the time about drugs, that thinking about where can you get your next one, that obsession gets taken, it gets lifted. And that's through working these 12 steps. Some people, it happens for them so quickly, like they're on their first 3 steps and they're already removed. And then there's people like me who, it probably took me halfway through the steps. And then all of a sudden I looked up and I said, I'm 2 years clean and I don't want to get high today. And I used to not feel like that. And that's what I'm saying, like, yeah, share, but see, and that's fine. Like, if that's prescribed to you by your doctor, girl, and I don't have no bearings on what that, I would never come to you and say, Cher, you're not clean because you take Xanax. You know why? Because that's bullshit. Because if you're working on your recovery and you're taking your medication as prescribed by your doctor, then you are clean and sober, my sister. And you know what? I'm going to read you guys the chapter in the big book where it talks about that. So that way, I'm not just talking out the side of my neck. Okay? Let's do this. Because that was such a big debate, we're going to read it. And that way, those of you that are on medication and you're prescribed by your doctor and you're taking it as prescribed, says it right here. And that's the thing, you guys. I'm not just over here saying I'm clean. I'm talking to you guys about real deal information here. I'm talking to you guys about, like, the program, the 12 steps, the fellowship, what people base clean and sober and all that stuff around. It says right here in this book that we have no opinion on outside issues, and that a doctor has to come in and diagnose you and give you medications. That's between you and your doctor. And it states it right here. Let me find it. You know, and so that's why I get really upset with people, because I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. And then when said person, I'm not going to say, is drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana and telling me I'm not clean, get the fuck out of here. Mental health meds are sometimes a necessity. Not sure why people think they are not clean when on mental health meds. Exactly. And you guys, I'm going to be straight up with you guys. Suboxone, it's like a mental health med for me, because I go crazy, and that's why I'm tapering off of it. Just like I'm tapering off my Lexapro. It's just a slow thing that has to happen. Hey, Neil? Neil? Okay. So, I've got to find that. I'm going to be like so freaking tripping if I don't find it. Neil, what are you doing? Huh? Is Jordan here? Okay. So, okay, you guys, I'm getting excited now. Like, we are finding, this is what I wanted to talk to you guys. I wanted to share with you guys, like, the facts and the things that I'm learning. Like, if you are in recovery and you take part in 12 steps or any kind of 12-step fellowship, it is based around this book right here. And It's amazing, you guys. Like, and that's why Cher, like, I would never, ever get on here and say, Cher, you're not clean because you're on Xanax. That's bullshit. And the thing about it is, as long as a doctor's prescribing it, it's like, and just like I said, outside issues. An outside issue is anything other than alcohol. Okay? So I'm an alcoholic and an addict, and I go to AA. Anything other than alcohol, AA is not, they don't have any say over it. And so that's why, like, a lot of people that are in AA, that are sponsoring people, like old timers that are like 60 years, 70 years sober, they will tell their sponsees to get off their medications, mental health meds, because they think that they shouldn't take any mind or mood altering substances. Well, if you're not abusing meds and drugs, you clean, girl. Yeah. And if you're not using your Suboxone and you're taking it as prescribed, you guys, and you're actively working on your recovery, changing your addictive behaviors, not doing criminal shit no more, you clean and sober. You hear me? You're clean and sober, because it's about changing your behaviors. It's not just about stopping the drugs. It's about changing your life and not being the shitty shithead you were. Do you feel me? It's about not being a shitty shithead anymore. That's the whole point of getting sober, you guys. We were pieces of shit then, and now we need to not be pieces of shit. You know? Oh, I'm excited. I'm so glad we're doing this. Okay. This is fun. 3 more. I really want to read this. Okay, here we go. Are y'all ready? It's tradition 10. No AA group or member should ever, in such a way as to implicate AA, express any opinion on outside controversial issues, maintenance, particularly those of politics, alcohol reform, or sectarian religion. The Alcoholics Anonymous program groups oppose no one. Concerning such matters, they can express no views whatever. Okay. Now I want to find the part about the doctor stuff. Are you guys liking this, that we're doing this? I hope so. Okay, so let's get through step 1, okay? I'm going to read a little bit more of this and then we'll stop. Okay. Okay, here's where it talks about the mental obsession. So it says, our sponsors declared that we were the victims of a mental obsession, so subtly powerful that no amount of human willpower could break it. There was, they said, no such thing as the personal conquest of this compulsion by the unaided will. Relentlessly deepening our dilemma, our sponsors pointed out our increasing sensitivity to alcohol. It's an allergy, they called it. The tyrant alcohol wielded a double-edged sword over us. First, we were smitten by an insane urge that condemned us to go on drinking, and then by an allergy of the body that ensured we would ultimately destroy ourselves in the process. So it says that we were the victims of a mental obsession. Okay, so you know how I talk about that there's a cycle to addiction, and it starts like this, and you say trigger, you're triggered, and you start thinking about drugs. Okay, you might just think about it a little bit. Then when you move into obsession, and you guys know, like, thinking about something is one thing, but obsessing it over it, like turning it, molding it over and over and over again in your brain, that's that mental obsession that the book's talking about. And that's what we get relieved of when we work through the 12 steps. That mental obsession is removed, and we no longer obsess over getting high every day. Now, we are addicts. The thought might pop into our minds, just like I told you guys with me about the Adipex. Like, oh, maybe that's a good idea. But just like I told you about the hot flame and how we go, oh, I don't want that anymore. If we're diligently practicing our steps and doing our homework and going to meetings and talking to other people in recovery, then when a thought like that pops into our mind, our first reaction is to be like, yo, and push that shit right out. And that's what we work on to do, is pushing it out. So I just got so excited, you guys. I'm so glad we got to talk about this. Push that shit out. That's right, Andrea. So step 1 is all about accepting our powerlessness over drugs and knowing that if we put them in our body, that's when we lose the power. Because as long as we don't pick up, we have the power of choice today. As long as I don't pick up today, I don't have to use today. And that's what it's all about, you guys. Just don't use today. Just don't pick up today. You know what I mean? Tomorrow was tomorrow. We'll work on that together tomorrow. But accepting the fact that we can no longer use drugs and alcohol ever again successfully. And I say drugs and alcohol because I cannot use drugs and alcohol. Now, I know there are some addicts that can drink wine and have a drink of wine with their dinner and they're fine. But I just don't do it because I'm scared that it will take me somewhere I don't want to go. But I think that there might be other people that, aren't like me. But so step 1 is all about admitting we're powerless. Powerlessness and surrender. Okay, guys? And I'm so, I feel like we did really learn a lot today. We have been on here for an hour now. I love you guys. If you haven't taken step 1 yet, why don't you tonight, before you go to bed, ask God to guide you in your day and thank Him for keeping you sober tonight, and really think about it while you're laying in your bed tonight. Lay in bed and close your eyes and think, am I powerless? Have I surrendered? Am I willing to do whatever it takes to change? Do I want to stop this cycle of madness? Do I want to stop hurting myself and harming myself? Do I want to change my life? Do I want to be different today? And if you're ready to surrender, then surrender. Don't sit there and be a slave to alcohol and drugs anymore. You can do it. You can do it. And share about Xanax. If you're overtaking your Xanax and you feel like you're abusing it and you're powerless over it to the point where it's causing your life to be unmanageable, is it? I'm terrified. Listen to me. Is your life unmanageable because of Xanax? Are you going out and robbing banks? Are you going out and getting into fights with your old man because you're overtaking it? Are you taking it and passing out and being fucked up? Is your life unmanageable? Okay, well then no, you're not powerless over it. Listen, your body's dependent on it because that's your medication and you need it for your anxiety. I feel if I drink enough to get tipsy, it's easier to take myself into getting on. Yeah, exactly. Me too, Kim. I feel like if I drink alcohol, then what that does to me is it gives me that little tingle, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go out and get me a pill. What's wrong?
Huh?
Why? You didn't take it to your mom?
No, I didn't go because Dave was all restless and wanted to get home, see if I was here.
Okay. And so...
Yeah, I'm going to see her tomorrow anyway.
Okay. That's what drugs do to us, is they... or alcohol does to me, is it lowers my inhibitions, and I'm like, oh, I don't need to do anything today. Just like you said. And listen to me. Powerlessness does not mean dependency. Listen, Cher, your medication that you take is for your anxiety and you're prescribed to it and you're not abusing it, then that's a totally different situation. Powerlessness is when you're going out and you're wreaking havoc. Powerlessness is I'm not powerless over Suboxone at all. I have the power to say, I don't want to take my Suboxone today. It's not ruining in my life. It's not running me. I choose to take it because it's helped me. Just like you're choosing to take your medication for your anxiety because it helps you. Powerlessness is when we're acting a donkey. We're over there committing crimes. And 8 milligrams a day, that's what? 4 bars. Woo, that's a lot. Maybe just take half that, girl. Take 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening to calm down. If you feel like you're taking too much, then just lower your dose. but that's your prerogative. You're dependent on it, yeah, just like I'm dependent on Suboxone. But Suboxone has not made my life unmanageable, and that's where it says it. That's why there's two parts to step one. It's not just about we admitted we are powerless. It's about the unmanageability too. So don't forget that. If your life is not unmanageable and you are not having negative consequences from being on that medication, then you are absolutely not, like, you are doing you're fine. And yeah, withdrawal's going to come. But if you taper off Xanax down to the very last bit, you'll be fine. You just have to taper down real low and slow. It's nothing like coming off Suboxone. It's nothing like coming off heroin or an opiate. Like, you're just going to feel a little depression. It sucks getting off of benzos. My husband and I are happy. My kids are healthy and I'm happy. Yeah, I will probably be on those. And that is fine, Cher. That is your prerogative, and you are doing a great job. Don't let anybody take that away from you. And that's the thing, is I feel like what we do, and you're a lot like me, I think, is we let other people's opinion of our lives and what's working for us affect us. And I feel like I should know better than to do that, and I should be setting an example. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter, you guys. Like, I'm over here killing it in my recovery. I'm working hard. I'm learning about my disease. I'm helping other people learn about their disease. And nobody's opinion should affect me. And I'm sorry for letting someone else's opinion affect me, because I shouldn't let that happen. And I should be showing you guys that their opinions don't matter. When they get doctor's degrees and PhDs, then I'll listen to them. But none of them got one. You hear me? And that's the thing. Like, everybody wants to become a doctor whenever they're talking about other people's recovery. But just remember, you guys, if you're going to go out and throw stones at somebody, don't be living over in a glass house, because you can't call somebody else out when you're not living your life right. You feel me? So, yeah, Cher, you're doing a great job. But just keep on it, you guys. And if you want to, we'll do this series tomorrow. We will continue on in our reading, and we're learning together. And I think this is going to be really good. So, if you guys want to come back tomorrow, what time did we get on tonight? Neil, what time is it? What time is it, you guys? Okay, it's 8. So we'll be back here tomorrow, same time at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. We will start our step work for tomorrow. So that was step 1. Do you guys feel like we covered step 1 good? Do you guys understand it? Or do you guys want me to stay on step 1 tomorrow too? If you guys think that we should stay on step 1 and still go through a little bit more, we will do that tomorrow. Or if y'all want to move on to step 2, we can move on to step 2. Just remember, step 1 is we admitted we were powerless. We were powerless when we were putting them drugs in our body. Okay? And that our lives had become unmanageable because of the result of using those drugs. Okay, step 2 it is. Okay, you guys, get down in the comments. Talk about it. If y'all have questions, shoot me a message. You know, put it in the comments. I'll answer it. We're having a good conversation. I feel like we're learning. If you guys know somebody that needs to hear this video, or you guys feel compelled to share it with somebody else, go right ahead. You know, but I am excited to move on. I think this was a good talk, you guys. This is a good little step 1 meeting. I liked it a lot. Thank you guys for communicating and being a part of it with me and doing it with me, because I can't do it alone. So I need you guys to be here so I can do it. So, okay.